Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back inside the Blizzard Arena for the Watchpoint Post-Show. We got Damage Dealers back in the building, ladies and gentlemen, and tonight was definitely a party. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and I'm joined by the whole desk, as always. At the far end, we have Joshua Sideshow Wilkinson. Here in the middle seat, we have Brendan Hook, and closest to me, we have Zoe Schwind. Did I nail it this time?
Bless you, Puckett.
Hey, it's only been like a few years since you tried.
Still working on my Swiss.
Yeah, that's atrocious.
We're getting there. We're getting there. One thing that I am really good at is hosting up matches. Let's take a look at our first one.
Sure.
It was the Dragons versus the Titans. You just watched it, so let's catch you up with the second half action. It was tied 1-1 going into map 3, and we loaded up King's Row. The snipers came out again.
Yeah, Hureg, we heard rumors, whispers on the wind.
On the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange.
Exactly, of Hureg's prowess when he was playing the Widowmaker. I didn't want to believe it because I didn't want to think that, you know, he could be good at the game.
Yeah,
but
well,
he is. He's
I
pretty
think
good at the game.
A lot of people were doubting Vancouver coming into a role-locked meta because they don't really have a great Widowmaker on the team, or so we thought. Now, Stitch has been playing quite a bit of it and looked reasonable, but little did we know that Hureg's just been sat there grinding it the entire time that he's been on the bench. And he comes out, and this guy's, honestly, he's been a bit of a meme for being just a bench warmer for so long.
Right.
And he came out and dominated.
Well, he had enough time to practice, so
That's apparently the case.
Other than that, bumper on Orisa. Thoughts? I think he didn't excel.
Okay, but he didn't feed either, and that's all you need from
Actually,
bumper.
pretty hard
towards
for
the end
Orisa.
of that map, he started feeding pretty darn hard. But yeah, no, this is also a new look. So I do think that all the speculations of Vancouver Titans not being able to play into what looks to be the current meta, which is more Orisa focused, I think that is probably not going to pan out the way people thought it would.
On the other side of things, can we talk about Shanghai? Because they just won Stage 3, right? They took out Vancouver to close out Stage 3. Are they taking a step back in this new meta? What's really changed for the Dragons?
Well, I mean, Josh highlighted in the pre-show the issues they'd be having as well when they were trying to decide what they wanted to run. I mean, as well, you were one of the main advocates for saying they'd have a hard time, I think, adjusting because they can't run the triple DPS anymore. You can only run the 2. You can kind of see it there. There's a potential for this squad still, right? They have played a very close game to Vancouver Titans, one of the best teams in the world. So I definitely don't think it's the end of the world for them. I still think there's potential for them to really go quite far. And we saw that as well. They were playing to their strengths. They were playing a lot of really heavy damage dealing compositions to the shields early on in the series. But when it comes to going toe-to-toe with teams that are playing, you know, the Widowmaker to a high level, it feels like, which is a weird thing to say as well because they got DM, but I mean, it feels like they were getting shut down by Hureg a lot of the times in this series.
Is it only time till DM wakes up? I mean, he won our Widow 1v1. He can't be that bad at the game.
He's pretty woke, honestly, isn't it? As individuals go, he's pretty woke, honestly. I mean, I feel like it's just Hureg, again, he's come out, he's popping off. He's absolutely
I also don't
dominating.
think they were... I think there is a high possibility that they weren't really prepared for that. I do think that they most likely must have assumed that it's going to be Stitch coming in to play that Sombra role. They might not have been familiar with Hureg's style and the way he is playing certain heroes. So they might not even have expected an actual real Widowmaker player on the other side. So that potentially could have just mentally shut them down a little bit.
Coach says Hureg is the best DPS player in the game. We heard that a lot today, but let's keep it moving to the biggest upset of the day. That was when the Gladiators took down the NYXL. It all started on Busan when they didn't play Roar in the 2-2-2. You thought Roar would be in every single game as their main tech. No, it's hydration on the Wrecking Ball.
He actually looked pretty good on the Wrecking Ball as well. Pairs up so well with Decay. And I love seeing this guy unleashed now. He actually plays a very good Zarya. Was probably in our top 5 Zaryas the entire time that he played. But it's really his Tracer, his Genji, and to a lesser extent his Widowmaker that most people are super excited to see. And Decay is a very highly sought after player, or at least was in the offseason for this reason, because he's so insanely good at the game.
One of the highest played pairs in the league for good reason. He showed off that Widow, as you mentioned. Short4, though, looking very good throughout this series. It seemed like anytime NYXL tried to run the Sombra, Short4 and Void on D.Va simply shut it down.
I was a little bit confused with, so I don't know, looking at New York and what they're fielding and what they're rolling with, it feels like they have very set strats. I just didn't really feel like they were adapting quite quick on the fly.
Yeah.
Libero did switch on and off of stuff, but it felt like it was always a little bit too late. Like, for example, on the Genji. He stayed on it for a long time there, very at the start. He didn't get his blade up very quickly either, so they didn't really get any use of him on that Genji role specifically, and that kind of just rolled over into every map they were playing.
I would also say that NYXL excelled at Hollywood here because it's about structure. No, it wasn't intentional, right? But Hollywood is about structure, particularly on the defense. You take set angles, you force mistakes out of your opponents, you capitalize on those. In the rest of the maps, the meta that we're seeing develop is a lot more about having your DPS players pop off.
Yep.
And that has never been a strength for the NYXL.
How is it a weakness, though? You look at the roster, how is this a weakness,
This is a
Brent?
conversation we were having, and a lot of people as well. We were having this discussion on one of our podcasts that we do about what DPS the New York Excelsior run. Because they've got a lot of talent from this bench, but how exactly do you unlock a lot of this potential? And frankly, Nene's Widowmaker didn't really impress me that much, and I'd like to see Sabiobi moving forward still in that role, because he did impress last year. This series is a little bit of an off game, but again, the guy's been out of practice for quite some time. Nene, on the other hand, I'm not too convinced with him, honestly, as an individual. A lot of people wanted to see him back in a game. Yes, he had a little bit of flexibility to it, but Sabiobi is a leadership figure. We know he's tried and tested on that role.
He's also just got so much clutch potential.
Yeah.
How many times in 2018 did Sabiobi just win a fight for them on Tracer? He can do that. That's the clutch that they need in this meta.
Get SBB in every single game. Is that where we're going, Josh?
I think so. I think that would be my choice. SBB and Libero. Libero isn't.
I want to
agree.
know where Pine fits into this whole thing, because
On the bench?
Keeping the pine warm.
Yeah.
Oh, let the boy play somewhere. All right, we got to talk about Shortfor, though. He was back in full force today, and his Hanzo stats, incredible. Very nice work. 30,000 plus damage being put in. The boy was playing with all kinds of confidence. Well, Shortfor was definitely excited to be back to dealing damage today, and after the match, he caught up with Danny Lim to share some of his insights on the hero.
What did it take for you guys to defeat NYXL today in today's series?
I mean, it just took the meta to be DPS. I mean, we have the 2 DPS players in the world, so like...
You said you said two best DPS in the world. Are you one of them?
Well, of course, I always have been.
I love that. I love that.
All right, so Shortfor said that the Gladiators have the best DPS in the world. Brent, where do you officially rank the Gladiators DPS duos in Decay and Shortfor amongst the rest of the league?
Yeah, I don't know about number 1. I'll be brutally honest with you, and this is...
Lane is watching, by the way.
Listen, where is he? Shuffle, where are you?
Skybox, always.
Skybox?
Always for that
Up
guy.
there somewhere. Actually, God.
Helicopter.
I don't think that they're number 1. I think it's very early to tell that. There's a lot of talent in this league. I mean, sure, if that was the only game we had seen so far, it's an easy argument to make. Shuffle, one of the best players in terms of the flexibility, the amount of roles he can play.
Yep.
And honestly as well, Decay pops off on Tracer, pops off on Widowmaker, and he's got the Genji in his bank as well. So very good argument to be made with that. But I mean, we just saw Titans play as well. Hurek comes out swinging with the Widowmaker. Haxel goes back onto Genji like it's 2016.
He was nutty.
I mean, that's a duo you need to have in consideration as well. We haven't even seen the majority of the other teams play as well in the league. So too early to tell, Shurfall. Again, sit back down, kid.
You're not wrong. Didn't fully argue against you, but there's more time for the argument to be made. Classic Brent answer right there. We already announced that, of course, the Gladiators are walking away with a big upset, and Vancouver got their win. But when we come back, we tell you how the matches went down between the Charge and the Fusion, and the Outlaws and the Paris Eternal. Don't go anywhere. This is Watchpoint. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. The Charge and the Fusion matched up in a battle where both teams were looking to climb our season standings. It all started on Busan before this one went the distance. Philadelphia showcasing, of course, Carpe and EQO on the damage dealers, and they played a number of different heroes throughout this battle.
Interesting that Carpe tried to get value out of the Reaper as well. It's not really a pick that we've seen teams get much success out of, but it is a very different game now that there aren't as many tanks in the game and this kind of stuff. But it kind of worked for them in the first map, and spoiler alert, it didn't really work for them in the 5th map.
Wow,
but Carpe on Tracer was still fantastic.
Yeah. I think Carpe as well is it's a hard job to look good on the Widowmaker when you're up against this guy on the screens. Happy is, I think, making an argument for the best Widowmaker in the league. In terms of the numbers he's putting up, his performance as an individual. It's a shame, however, that his team usually can't keep up with it. Now, I know that Guangzhou won this game, and I'm ripping into him a little bit here, but I still feel like this is one of the sloppiest games I've seen in quite some time in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Both of these teams didn't seem quite coordinated. Maybe that will change with time. I really hope it does, because, again, I don't want sloppy gamers in my league, but we'll see, honestly. But the coordination, if it gets there, fair play. But for now, I mean, the rest of the team just needs to catch up in that regard.
Yeah, it kind of could have gone either way. I was still impressed with a good bunch of individual performances. I think Shu had a very good game himself. Nero, I think, in the May was causing a lot of trouble for the opponents.
Nero's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, no, I think he had a really good showing there as well, and that gives me a lot of hope for the Charge moving forward. They do look like this could be their meta. They do look comfortable in playing the roles they're playing, so overall, I don't think it was bad, but yes, for sure, it was more scrappy.
Now, we saw Charge really start to generate some momentum back at the Atlanta homestand, the Bud Light homestand there. Do we expect the Charge to keep climbing after beating Philly today?
I definitely think so, yes. The fact that Hopper is in this lineup and has so much flexibility gives them that avenue to work with. Happy's a fantastic Widowmaker, as we've already mentioned, and Nero's really coming into his own. They have all the pieces to continue this rise that they've been making through the standings. It's crazy that this team bottomed out in Stage 2, and they are still at a reasonable place in the overall standings. They would make the play-in tournament if the league ended today. And I only think they're going to rise. Remember, they've recently beaten the Shanghai Dragons and the Philadelphia Fusion now. So the only way to go from here is up, it seems.
But they picked up a few new players as well in the form of Braggy and Bishu.
Never going to get played.
I don't think they're going to see playtime. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't see it happening either. I was thinking there's
But they look very happy moving in, and I was very happy for them.
Yeah. Strong, older, emotional veterans that are on the team. I think it's great pickups, even if they don't ride on the starting lineup. At the end of this one, you see it in the box score. It was the Charge who, after looking a little bit shaky in map 4, come out and close the control 2-0 to take the series 3-2. Philly now sits at 12-10. The Charge in double digits in that win column, something I didn't expect after seeing them struggle in Stage 3. The last match we got to talk about, and actually before we get to that, is the Widow battle. It went down today. So how did Carpe fare when he matched up against Happy?
I mean, I think Bren already covered that piece quite well. Happy is just quite a force to be reckoned with, and Carpe did have a little bit of a struggle to at least go toe-to-toe against that Widowmaker. However, I did like the Carpe. Whenever he noticed that he can't beat him in the Widowmaker battle, he did switch off that hero. Like, he did see that condition.
Like me in ranked.
Yeah, no, like, if you don't get the crucial picks for your team, then you can't play Widowmaker. Simple as that. And I think that when we did see Carpe switching over to Tracer, for example, where he really popped off, that really worked for them. Happy on Hanzo, also absolute glorious.
I think just give Philly some time.
Yeah,
Let the
give
damage
him some
boys
time.
get back to the Bash Brothers they were at the end of 2018. For now, we got to transition to the last match of the day, which was our first match of the day, believe it or not. It was the Outlaws versus the Paris Eternal, and this one kicked things off with a bang. We knew we were going to see a whole lot of damage dealers in Stage 4. The question was, for the Outlaws, who do you field? You got Dante, you got Jake, you got Linkser. It seemed like the Outlaws wanted to put Jake on the Sombra for some comms reasons here, guys.
Yeah,
Paid dividends early on.
I think, yeah, comms is probably a big part of it for the Houston Outlaws, and they've clearly found this style, this composition that we're seeing here that works well for them. And particularly, it synergizes nicely the way Muma likes to play Winston. You can start using Dante to his full potential. Jake is kind of added in there as like a jack of all trades, it feels like, as well. He switches up to a lot of different roles, but this is where they were struggling.
Soon time.
It's going to be, the Orisa Roadhog is going to be a staple, I feel like, for Stage 4. And unless they get their coordination together, they're not going to be able to be considered a top team right now. It is imperative that you get your coordination coordination right when you're working with the Orisa Holt ability, because that's like a cornerstone right now of the game. As it stands, you need to be able to link it up with the hooks, you need to be able to link it up with Dragon Strikes and coordinate it well.
Another thing, though, to mention with Houston is that they did look pretty good on when they were playing that Sombra Tracer. And Houston Outlaws, they're not the most skilled team in the world. They've hung out at the bottom of our standings for quite a while now in this season. But when they find something that they really know how to play, like they had the Sombra last stage, and like it looks like this kind of divey style this stage, it normally means it's a very good composition that other teams can master. So I think Houston Outlaws are in some sense a bit of like the heralds of the meta as well, because they tend to figure things out pretty quickly and then other teams master it. So I could see other teams experimenting with that kind of lineup there with the Brigitte as the support and then the Sombra Tracer. I'm interested to see what other teams pick up from them.
Due to the map pool we are having, though, it is very crucial for them to be able to go toe-to-toe when it comes to that Orisa Hawk kind of combo, because you can only get so far with playing dive kind of composition with that Tracer Sombra and the Winston. I just don't see that working on all those maps, so yeah. Something to work on.
We kind of dove in deep there on Houston, but I want to pull back and ask about the Paris side. For all the Paris fans that have been waiting for their team to finish the stage strong, remember, they've always finished with a negative record at the end of the stage. Is this the time in stage 4 that they finish on a positive note? How strong is this team looking?
I think it's very promising, actually. The entirety of the performance from Paris was a step up from the previous stage. I mean, it's not hard to beat. They had a pretty poor season so far. One player in particular who really impressed me, Shadowbird, actually. He's come out on the Mei. His walls, a big part of playing a good Mei right now, it's not how well you can aim, it's actually how well you can place your walls. And every time he would either be saving his teammates when they got hooked, or he would be segregating them off in the middle as well, securing kills for his team. Wall placement is going to be very important for a Mei player. Shadowbird, come out the gate, is very impressive.
I was really interested to see that they went back to play, Field Cloudy. I feel like they have like just switched it up by stage now. So like this stage has been best stage. This stage is Cloudy stage.
It's an even stage.
So now, now Cloudy is back. I think he looked very good on that Orisa. I liked what we saw from Finzi on the Roadhog. And also keep in mind what we're still having on the bench. We have a fantastic Genji and Nico. We have Danya, who's probably going to be coming in when they're going to go for Sombra or Bastion kind of stuff. So they still had a lot of different pieces to field back into the lineup.
At the end of this one, it was Paris coming out on top, and so was Bren when it came to our predictions. Both Zoe and Josh went along with the Houston Outlaws, and here's where we landed after all 4 matches from day 1 of stage 4 are in the books. Bren!
Rough.
Shanghai, they could have made you look genius.
They could have, yeah.
Instead, Vancouver wins.
Yeah, I mean, and as well, we're using that ugly headshot where I look like I'm 50. And
It's very
we've got to get that
unfortunate.
changed.
You always look like you're 50 though, Bren.
That's
You've got the
Bad
brain of a
framing
50-year-old.
too.
I have
Bad
young
framing.
genes, Joshua Wilkinson.
I just quickly want to point out, not just saying that because I'm really whiny about being in the bottom. We had no idea what we're going to see from those teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
No.
I think a lot of those games have been a bit of a coin toss.
It was
Otherwise,
a
I would
coin
have been.
toss. This morning when we were doing our
obviously.
predictions, I said I'll just predict the opposite of everyone else.
That's
See where we
actually
go.
exactly what he did.
I got all 4 picks correct, as always.
Sure,
but we got to
of course.
talk about the
No
end of our first day.
documentation, but okay.
It was the first day of Rollock, the first time we were seeing 2-2-2 played by the pros in the professional scene outside of scrims. So now when it's on the line, what are your takeaways, guys? What are your initial first impressions after watching the Rollock?
There were a lot of worries, I think, coming into it, that we might see an unbreakable composition that was just going to kind of like ruin the games. We didn't see that, actually. We saw almost a return to form of 2018, a little bit of 2017, 2016 as well, with Dive being played. I'm a big fan of this. I think we're going back to sort of some staple compositions. We're getting to see Widowmaker being played, Genji's being played. I'm a huge fan of it, honestly, and it's fantastic to see.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I think Orisa Hog is going to be a really important one for a lot of teams to be able to master, or Orisa Diva if they're able to pull that off as well. And it's really interesting to see when you have to run 2 DPS, which DPS kind of the facilitators, the supportive players, like the Mayors with the walls, like you were saying before. The May isn't really there to do a huge amount of damage or to be able to get picks. It's about setting up your team for the victories, which I think is really cool. And then you also have Haxel just killing everybody on Genji. So you get both sides of the coin.
Can I insist that we call any comms with Orisa, Hawk, and May frozen pulled pork?
That's pretty good.
Sounds
Okay.
horrible to eat.
Yeah, actually, when do you
It's hard to
freeze
deal
pulled
with.
pork?
You shouldn't.
It's good anytime, guys. Hot or
It
cold.
works. I don't
Eat
know.
the pulled pork.
I can make a point out of
Eat
this.
the
You know,
pulled pork.
apart from what we've seen being played hero-wise, I thought it incredibly interesting to see. Did I use it correctly?
Yes,
You
you did, yeah.
You won't understand. No, I thought it was very interesting to see what players are being fielded. Because we had so many players which didn't get playtime during the 3-3 meta. And now the big question was like, have they been integrated during the off time or not? So it was very interesting, and it will continue to be interesting over the course of this first week to see who will be the starter lineup, basically.
Big names, familiar faces returning to the stage. Speaking of returning, we're going to a quick break, but we've got the most over-the-top moments of the day. It's the Watchpoint Post Show. We'll be right back. Hi, Mom.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Get your tickets now, nerd, but it's time for the over-the-top moments. Start off at number 5, Poco. Gameplay, not nearly as gorgeous as this mustache today. Philadelphia takes it to 5, but that stash wins it all for Poco.
Look at that slow motion.
Wow, the glow.
With the little glow behind his head. He
Freddie
looks
Mercury,
angelic.
is this Poco? I don't know, but it's good to look at.
He tweeted, and I said definitely keep it,
Absolutely
100%.
keep it, yeah.
All right, she'll understand. Number 4, short for it's McCree, 2K. A 2K? Was it that good? Show us short for.
It was pretty
What did you do?
He was dominating people all day long, and he tweeted afterwards saying, my aim's kind of cracked right now, which, yeah, I guess...
Is that a good thing, Zoomers?
Yeah.
Break it down for the boomers out there.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it. I think Short4 in particular is loving being able to play DPS and use his flexibility and aim.
I think he just likes playing video games again. At number 3, we got Soon's Hanzo. It's more than just a Widowmaker.
Word. Look at this guy. He's an absolute freak of nature. Oh, my word. Whoa.
We were a little concerned for him in map 1. After that, he just took over this
Yeah,
series.
he demolished this series, honestly. Like, it's not, I don't know. It's weird. Soon, you take him off a hero, he has to engage his brain. He absolutely demolishes.
At number 2, we take a look at EQO, and this is one of my favorite plays. Super May, so proud of this one.
Yeah, get out of here.
Look at this. Ice block, little tickle freeze. Ice blocks the shot, little tickle freeze, the duck for the second shot, and then finishes strong. Well done, boy.
Turn up.
That's
Number 1.
Very high skill here.
Was there anything better than this play from EQO? Yes, it was Hacksaw's play.
Here we go.
The Blades are back in town.
Oh!
You could have showed me any of his plays because that's just
This
kind
one's
of
the best.
easy.
Hack the boy, and he still gets a 2 for 1.
Oh,
1-2.
my word.
All your healers.
Oh, he's
They're all
so
dead.
good.
He is so good. his awareness of where people are, his knowledge of how much ult charge he needs to get, his cooldown usage, he's the whole...
Can we just loop this #1 one more time? No, we cannot, because it's time to announce your Twitch cheerleader board. Here they are, the Reign. They've dominated since stage 1 when DeFrang was still playing. They hold down the #1 spot. Down at number 10, we got the Paris Eternal. Vancouver's starting to climb, currently in your top 7.
Yeah, I think this might be the first time that Atlanta are less than $1 million ahead from number 2. So well done, Sparky.
Wow.
Catching up.
I like it a lot. Spark making some huge ground. Let's see who's helping them get there. Here are your individual cheer bits leaders. Go ahead, friend. Say
Look who's Bobby!
Yeah,
Look at that, 20K!
Our local buddy Bob.
Oh, you love to see it.
Pretty good.
Shout out to Rock Norris, 16117. Spartan 117. He's a good guy from a different video game. There we go. Those are your Twitch cheer pits individual leaders. And remember, guys, if you're on Twitch already, you should have your Overwatch League All Access Pass. Why? Because then you'll be able to tune in with our Q&A with Slime from the Vancouver Titans. It's happening exclusively here on Twitch.tv. Don't go anywhere, though, folks. We have plenty more Watchpoint post-show right after the break. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Sinatra and Clayton have controlled the point. There it is. Flank's going to drop in. There was no trick open to save them. It's 4. Yep. Flanner knew where he had to be, and Trick Open looks around with dismay. He can't be everywhere at once, but someone had to stop the barrage with a nano boost. It was never going to happen. For a big fight.
Yeah, looking for the shot, misses on the Violet. An absolutely crucial pick if he can find it. Whole hog from Young Jim, though. He'll just take down Rascal, now pushes up, looks for Super. And they will be able to find that pick. Young Jin's going to be pulled in. Wraps around, he does the 180 hook on the block.
It's always good.
It's all like we just saw. Valiant wasting no time and jumping right back in there for the aggression. Great move on the Goose Wave. Send into the team, but they've got the grab. Oh man, we've seen that one before. And that is going to be a 4K with the Dragon Strike.
With so much fighting close up. Oh, are you kidding me? An amplification matrix already, and here comes San Francisco. What a shatter! Oh, they don't call the shock for nothing, Matt.
Come in at the last moment. Luffy lining it up, Coma on the Moira now. Here comes DM.
EMP.
The EMP could be the difference maker. Gets it off, and there's the ding with the barrage. EMP barrage will deliver.
As we close out the show tonight, we want to say heartfelt goodbye to a good friend. Jeff In Control Robinson passed away this past weekend, and when the news hit me, I was just rattled. He's someone that I first met as a player, someone that made everyone else just swarm his station, even though he wasn't deep in the tournament, because he was so funny with the way he reacted and how intense he was in game. Later, I got a chance to work with Jeff on the broadcast side, where I truly got to see his full personality in force. He had quick wit, unrivaled passion for not only the games that he played, but the Blizzard community as a whole. And it's someone that we are all going to miss. I know, Zoe, that he's someone that we've worked closely with throughout your career, throughout my career, and someone we'll both definitely be missing.
Absolutely. I think we're speaking for everyone out there who had the chance to cross paths with him, be that in person or through the work he has been doing for Blizzard and throughout so many other games as well. He was unapologetically himself, and that was one of the reasons why we all loved him so very much. He was wearing his heart on his sleeve. He was always passionate and true to himself, and yeah, he will be missed.
Absolutely. On behalf of everyone who had the honor of working with Jeff, thank you so much for the laughs, for the love, for the fun, and of course the entertainment. Thank you, Jeff. We'll all miss you.
I am joined here at the desk by the one and only In Control.
Hello, it's good. I'm glad to do this. This is all building up for this moment right here now. Let's cast some WCS, let's do it. I think he's more of like a kind of a warmish stick of butter, I believe. A very good looking one though, the kind you want to slather on your body.
I have one question to start things off, asking MC. Did you ever think you were gonna lose?
Guys, I see someone's very excited for this series.
Zest Looks darn good with this shirt off, but in this game, he might as well keep all his clothes on because it's not looking so hot.
So wrong. So incredibly wrong. Representing freedom, burgers, French fries, and all that is good in this world. It is Neeb!
I didn't get enough of you on the couch during the Haas match.
You can't escape.
And here we are again together, so
give me a hug.